Hey there, pharmacy owners. Dr. Lisa Faast here, and continuing to do some Q&A and answer some questions from you guys. Doing some kind of like normal pharmacy business ones and some kind of the little bit different ones that I get. So this today is a little bit of a different one. So when we get a new member to Pharmacy Badass University for our Essentials and Unlimited members, we send them a new member box after they've, been towards the end of their first month. And here's an example. So for those of you that are not members, and our big headline or whatnot across the box is "Profit is the new growth." And I got a question from one of our new members recently asking kind of like what that meant to them. They were kind of like trying to figure out a little bit of like what profit is the new growth means. And this really comes from a fundamental shift, at least for me, in how I think about businesses in general. I've owned lots of businesses. I'm part owner in 2 pharmacies now. And of course I own Diversify and other things, but for so many years, and I think especially with the social media kind of bro entrepreneurship craze out there, there's a lot of focus around just metrics, vanity metrics, if you will, revenues in general. Even some of these big startup companies that we all, read about and or see in the news, it's like, $100 billion valuation, but they make no profit, those kinds of things. And for me and in my mission to help pharmacy owners, it's to help you make a profit. Having a lot of revenue means nothing, right? Like, you're a pharmacy owner, you need to make money from your pharmacy so you can put, food on the table, pay for your mortgage, send your kid to college. Like, it needs to be real, tangible money. Like, we don't live in a venture capitalist, private equity world. Like, we need to make real money. And so, anybody can grow a pharmacy. I've seen lots of, other consultants and, coaching companies out there for pharmacy owners. And I'll read their posts or whatnot. And it's like, yeah, if all it was about was increasing revenue for pharmacies, that's actually fairly easy. It's also a really quick way to go broke in our space because of cash flow. And unless you were just sitting on a pile of cash to pay for that. And so, one of the reasons why I made it the very front of the member box is profit is the new growth. Is I'm not for growth for the just sake of growth. Like, I'm not for, hey, we did 300 scripts today and you only did 100. That means we're better. Like, no. How much profit did you make from those 300? How much profit did you make from those 100? If anything, the last few years of pharmacy ownership has taught myself and lots of other pharmacy owners is actually sometimes the way to grow profitably is to actually do less. We've offloaded a lot of our brands, especially for Medicare. We've said no to bad business, yes to good business. And so it's just the fundamental shift of the mindset I approach Pharmacy Badass University, how I approach pharmacy ownership is it's about profit. Like, growing for the sake of growing just honestly is in our day and age with super narrow margins and terrible cash flow, growing too fast and growing in the wrong way actually equals an early death for you as a pharmacy business and as a pharmacy owner. So for me, profit is the new growth. Like, that's what you should be focusing on. Not how many scripts did we do today, not, what our top line revenues are, not just, hey, let me bring in this new service so I can, feel better about myself. It's, what's the bottom line? What's the profit? And that's where we need to focus on. And sometimes that means actually pruning and cutting back. Sometimes that means just optimizing what you already have. But if you stay narrowed in on the goal is profit and not just this amoeba-like growth that, very well may never result in money in your pocket. Last time I checked, most pharmacy owners aren't billionaire, hedge fund managers that can just sit around and wait forever for profit to roll in. You probably, like me, have mortgage payments due each month and car payments. And, now my oldest kid is in college. We all have lives that we have to fund, and your pharmacy should be doing that, right? Like, to me, one of the measures of a good business is how much cash does that business throw off to fund your life. And unfortunately, for many pharmacy owners, pharmacies don't throw off cash. Many of you haven't paid yourself. Many of you don't pay yourself appropriately, even if you do pay yourself. And so, it's like, is that even, that's not owning a business really. And so my focus is profit. Profit is the new growth. That's what needs to be the measuring stick. Not how many scripts did you do today or what's your top line revenue. Yes, those are important metrics. It's not like they have nothing to do, but ultimately it's about being able to take money out of the business, being able to pay for your life, plan for your future, put away for retirement, all those kinds of things. And you only get there if you focus on profit instead of just generic growth. So that's why profit is the new growth is on the new members box. And thank you so much for sending in that question. And I will be back with answering some more. So hopefully that was helpful for you. And hopefully maybe it'll help you switch your mindset shift to focusing on the numbers that matter most and not just, pretty numbers that are fun to talk about. So adios, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.